Firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars, protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. He's Hacker.
So much so that I had to ask around. I'm like, hey, I'm kind of a nice guy, right?
Hacker is an ass.
I try, as I'm getting into my old age at 39 years old, try not to let things bother me. Just know that I'm ultra soft.
And he doesn't shy away from opinions.
See Baker Mayfield throw 4 passes, but I get to see this homeless guy return a ball for a touchdown.
It's Hacker After Dark on 1010XL.
And a very good Friday evening to you, Jacksonville. It is Hacker After Dark, 1010XL 92.5 FM with Dylan Denmark, the Hacker Ryan Green with you. Back with you on Friday nights. The Friday Night Lights are in the books, although we do have some unfinished business with some 5 teams remaining in state Final Four action. We'll tell you those scores in a moment. But we're back with Hacker After Dark now after the high school football season on Fridays, and we are glad you are heading into the weekend with us. Obviously, a ton of talk about the college football championship weekend that kicks off here in a matter of moments with what is potentially a playoff game in Las Vegas, right? The Pac-12 title game, Oregon and Washington. The winner more than likely in the college football playoff. Potentially the winning quarterback, maybe the next Heisman Trophy winner, a lot on the line when Washington and Oregon kick it off here in about 10 minutes. We'll keep you updated. And then obviously all the games tomorrow from the Big Ten Championship to the Big 12 Championship to the SEC Championship. And then, of course, Florida State, Louisville, and could it potentially be Brock Glenn, the third string quarterback for Florida State, getting the start tomorrow night? We're going to talk a lot about that coming up in just a moment. And, of course, the Jaguars. No Jaguar football this weekend because Monday Night Football returns to Duval County for the first time since 2011. Of course, you'll hear the game right here on 1010XL, Jacksonville and Cincinnati. And I've been asked a bunch, Hacker, are you going to do a fifth quarter after the game? Guys, do you honestly think that we would come on 1010XL and 92.5 FM from roughly 1 a.m. to 3 a.m. on Tuesday morning? Do you think that's in our DNA? Of course it is. You're darn right we're doing a fifth quarter. Tuesday morning, we'll be on 2 hours after the Jaguars and the Bengals go final. So please, Jaguars, give us a victory to talk about at 1:30 in the morning, Tuesday morning, following Monday Night Football, because we will be here with you for the fifth quarter on 1010XL and on 92.5 FM. Guest lineup looks like this. We're less than 15 minutes away from former Jaguar defensive back Aaron Beasley. I want to talk with Aaron Beasley about Monday Night Football, about the 2023 Jaguars, about his former teammate Fred Taylor, once again making the cut into the semifinal list for the Pro Football Hall of Fame. So one of the best defensive backs to ever wear a Jaguar uniform. Aaron Beasley comes up in less than 15 minutes, and we'll crunch the numbers with my guy Ben Lindsay of Pro Football Focus. You guys know I love PFF.com. We'll talk Jags, Bengals, a little AFC South, and more with the boys of PFF coming up in about 35 minutes. But as we do every night, to kick it off here on Hacker After Dark, we give you a big deal of the night and Dylan Denmark. Let's do that right now.
Time now for the big deal of the night.
What's the big deal?
What is the big deal?
No big deal.
It is a big deal.
On Hacker After Dark.
All right, a couple of big deals of the night. Let me begin with the Jacksonville Jaguars. You know, I've been thinking all week, and maybe it's because it's the way I've been programmed, being a media member and living in this community for going on now 28 years. Could this be a letdown game for Jacksonville? Could Cincinnati circle the wagons? They're a good football team. Obviously, there is no Joe Burrow, but they're still a good football team. I was a little nervous all week thinking about this game on Monday night. And then driving in about 30 minutes ago, I had a calm come over me. Because I had this thought, and I think it's the thought that we need to go into the game with on Monday. Of course, if you want the Jags to win. It's the first Monday Night Football game at home in 12 years. They're playing a backup quarterback that is making his second career NFL start and his first career NFL start on the road. You're coming off back-to-back division wins where your offense maybe had its best production of the entire year. This is not the same old Jacksonville Jaguars that we're used to. And if we believe the Jaguars are who we believe they should not have any trouble on Monday night against Jake Browning and a wounded Cincinnati Bengal team. You're not playing the logo. You're not playing the Bengals of 2020 or 2021 or 2022. You're playing this year's Cincinnati Bengals that are minus Joe Burrow, that are 5-6 on the year, that lost to the Tennessee Titans 27-3 when they had Joe Burrow. If the Jaguars are who we believe them to be, this should not be a problem on Monday night. And for that reason, I'll take the Jaguars, and I'll take them by two possessions. 10 plus. If you want to score, I'll say Jacksonville 27, Cincinnati 13. Jaguars need to win this. Home game, Monday Night Football, first time in a dozen years against a team you are clearly better than and against a team where you are playing for a lot more than they are. Go win the game on Monday night. And I believe the Jaguars will. The other big deal of the night is championship weekend in college football. What is going to happen? It's fitting that the last year of the 4-team playoff looks like we're going to get a little chaos. It begins tonight. Washington, Oregon, Pac-12 championship out in Vegas. Well, you want to talk about one of the greatest comebacks in the history of college football? What about the story of Bo Nix? That guy at times was awful at Auburn. Awful. Do you remember when he brought Auburn into the swamp and was just terrible? And now he might be the best quarterback in college football. He may win the Heisman Trophy at the University of Oregon. What a turnaround for Bo Nix. But they got to beat Washington tonight. Washington undefeated. If they win, they're obviously in the playoff. But we know how hard it is to beat a team twice. They already beat Oregon once. That was in Seattle. Can they do it again on a neutral site? We're going to find out with kickoff coming up here shortly. But that's the first domino to fall. I think if you want to avoid chaos and you want simple, you want Washington to win. Because if Washington wins, that's simple. They're undefeated. They're the Pac-12 champs. Great resume they're in. The first bit of chaos could begin if Oregon knocks them off tonight. And then tomorrow you have all sorts of ideas for chaos. What if Iowa beats Michigan? What, of course, if Alabama beats Georgia? That's the big one. And then that brings me to Florida State. They're already down Jordan Travis. Rumor has it they could potentially be down Tate Rodemaker. Are they going to win an ACC championship against a top 15 Louisville team? A Louisville team that's 10-2 on the year with their third-string quarterback? Boy, if they do that, they absolutely deserve to be in the college football playoff. But as I told Rick, enjoy this because next year, all of these teams are in. No one's in a must-win situation. Think about it. 12 teams. Next year, Washington and Oregon would already be in. So tonight's game wouldn't be like a playoff game. Alabama, Georgia would both be in. So the SEC title game tomorrow wouldn't be essentially a playoff game. Michigan would already be in. So they wouldn't have to win the Big Ten title. Texas would already be in. So they wouldn't have to win the Big 12 title like they will have to tomorrow. And Florida State would already be in next year. And they wouldn't have to win the ACC title game like they will tomorrow. So I love college football playoff expansion. I love the fact that more teams are going to get in. But one thing that it will do in regards to championship weekend is it could potentially water it down a little bit. Championship games tomorrow are going to mean a lot more than championship conference games will moving forward with the playoff field expanded. So enjoy it. I personally hope we get some chaos. I think it'd be great for the 4-team playoff to go out with a little bit of chaos, and we'll see what happens beginning tonight out in Vegas with that Pac-12 championship game. We got a lot to do. More in the world of college football coming up in just a moment. Aaron Beasley, former Jaguar defensive back, coming up in just a moment. Let me update you on some scores. High school football, we have 5 teams remaining tonight. Great start for Trinity Christian in a state semifinal against Clearwater Central. Trinity made that trip down there. Trinity 14-0 over Clearwater Central, that game in the second quarter. Pensacola Catholic has scored. They lead Bradford 7-0 in the second quarter. Remember the Tornadoes out there at Bradford County, undefeated, a perfect 13-0 coming into tonight, but they find themselves trailing 7-0 right now to Pensacola Catholic. Miami-Norland against Bowles. That Miami-Norland team has 15 guys that have Division I offers. 15. Right now, Norland up 7-0 on the Bowles Bulldogs. You can hear that game on 10:10 a.m. Mandarin is on the board. They trail Monarchs 7-6 out of Coconut Creek. That's in the second quarter. In the last score I had, Denmark, there it is. St. Augustine still leads Fort Myers Dunbar 7-0 that game in the second quarter. So right now, St. Augustine is winning. Trinity Christian is winning. Teams that are losing, Bowles is down a touchdown, Bradford is down a touchdown, and Mandarin is down a point. 7-6 in the second quarter. We will keep you updated. Let's talk Jaguars. Let's talk Bengals. Let's talk Monday Night Football with the guy that did it for many years here in Jacksonville. Former Jags DB Aaron Beasley joins me next on a Friday night edition of Hacker After Dark.
The home of Jaguars fans.
Follow every play, interview, and press conference.
Duval came out, supported us, and that's what we need.
1010XL, the home of Jaguars fans.
Visionaries, builders, and doers. Are you ready to change the world? Miller Electric is your opportunity to shape the future. Miller Electric is leading the charge in electric vehicle technology with our state-of-the-art EV Innovation Design Center. We're working to create a sustainable future. We're also the proud partners of the Jacksonville Jaguars, powering their performance at the brand new Miller Electric Center. Miller Electric, we provide competitive pay, unbeatable benefits. Apply today. MillerCareers.com. Miller Electric, an equal opportunity employer.
Are you ready for the ultimate happy hour experience? Look no further than Bellwether, downtown's undisputed champion of good times. It's Tuesday through Saturday from 4 to 7 p, with the exception on Friday when happy hour starts at 11 a.m. Rally the team and head over to Bellwether. The vibe is cool and the food is unbeatable. Free parking after 6 p on weekdays and all weekend. Bellwether Restaurant, where great food and the best happy hour in town come together for an epic win.
Prosser here, and if you're having trouble selling your home before the end of the year, that's a problem. Well, I have a promise. New for 2023, and it comes from ChadandSandy.com. Your home sold, guaranteed, or they will buy it. Success stories still to come. Maybe you want maximum equity for your home, but not sure how. Well, here's how. Chad and Sandy are the only real estate expert we trust and recommend with the sale of your home. They guarantee your home sold at an agreed-upon price and deadline, or they will buy it. It's as simple as that. Vivian from Cambridge Estate says, I had already moved to Alabama and I needed to sell my Jacksonville home. Easier said than done. My home failed to sell with another realtor for 144 days. I finally got smart and fired my old realtor. I hired Chad and Sandy. What they say is true. My home sold in 4 days above asking price. Don't waste time and money. Hire Chad and Sandy first. How do you do that? Real easy. Call today, 904-414-6200, 904-414-6200, or go to ChadandSandy.com, ChadandSandy.com.
This date in sports history is brought to you by Southeast Orthopedic Specialists.
On December 1st, 1956, led by future Basketball Hall of Famers Bill Russell and Casey Jones, the U.S. wins its 4th consecutive Olympic gold medal.
The year is almost over. Do you need cash for the holidays or want to be credit card debt-free for the new year? Call Loan Pronto today. Their Express Equity line of credit can get you $20, $50, $100,000 in as little as 5 days. Listen, if you have a ton of equity in your house and Loan Pronto can help you turn that equity into cash, you can access up to 95% of your home's value. Use the money to pay off all your credit cards, pay off personal loans, or start that home improvement project. You can get the money you need now and still keep your primary mortgage intact. So your 3% rate, it's protected. And with Loan Pronto's Express Equity Line program, 90% of the time, there's no need for an appraisal. So you can get your money super fast. Get the holiday cash you need or pay off all those credit cards before the new year. Get yourself on solid financial footing before the year ends and call Loan Pronto now. 904-999-1508, 904-999-1508 or loanpronto.com. Equal Housing Lender, NLS 1661781, subject to lender approval.
Rick Ballou for Carlson Dental. You know, I've been telling you this for quite some time because it's true. I hate going to the dentist, or at least I used to hate going to the dentist. I had total anxiety, and then I tried sedation, light sedation for cleaning and deep sedation as well for cavities and root canals. Folks, it's an incredible experience. So don't be nervous. Don't be scared. Go to carlsondentalgroup.com. That's carlsondentalgroup.com for all of your dental needs.
Hey sports fans, it's Hayes Carline for QC Kinetics. Look, are you sick and tired of living with that constant pain in your knees and back? Joint pain doesn't just keep you from doing what you love, it affects your job, your relationships, even simple things like getting dressed. It's time to call QC Kinetics. They've got 2 great locations here, Mandarin and Ponte Vedra. And look, you can get in. They have appointments available right now. This week, call them at 904-274-5522. You got to give them a chance. Hips, shoulders, elbows, they can treat everything with natural biologics from your own body. Powerful healing agents, highly concentrated. If you're tired of steroid shots that don't work, or if you're trying to avoid surgery, call QC Kinetics now to schedule your free consultation. Learn more about these exciting new cutting-edge treatments. Again, 904-274-5522. That's QC Kinetics.
Time now for a medical recap. A health and wellness tip from Jaguars head team physician, Dr. Kevin Kaplan.
Establishing a regular sleeping pattern is crucial for your well-being. This includes going to bed at roughly the same time every night and waking up around the same time every morning. You may even consider turning off all electronic devices an hour before bedtime. Ever wonder why you can't fall asleep after staring at your phone right before bed? Studies show that the light from your phone actually decreases melatonin production, therefore causing disruptions to your sleep throughout the night. Get some rest before the big game. Go Jags.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Let's ring up another guest on the All-Pro Roofing phone line.
Back here on 1010XL and 92.5 FM in the city of Jacksonville, we are glad you are with us. The Jaguars and the Bengals. Next Monday, Monday Night Football returns to Jacksonville for the first time in 12 years. The Jaguars now sitting at 8-3 on the year. Let's talk to a man that knows a little bit about playing Monday Night Football here in Duval County. He was on those great Jaguar teams in the late 90s. That is one of the best DBs to ever play in a Jaguar uniform, Aaron Beasley, and he's always kind enough to join us here on 1010XL. Aaron, how you doing?
I'm good, man. Thanks for propping me up so much.
Hey, you deserve it, man. You were the best DB that I ever saw in the late 90s, early 2000s for the Jaguars. No question about that. Aaron, you and I haven't talked since the season started, man. 8-3, obviously first place in the division. Just your thoughts as a whole, what you've seen from the Jaguars to this point.
Being in a great position at this point of the season, first and foremost, is great for the energy of the team. I mean, you come in there every day and you're focused on the next opponent, but it goes to another level because you also can see the playoffs and you know you want to be playing your best ball at this time. So, I mean, we had a couple of hiccups, but I mean, I feel like when you come out of the hiccup and win 2 straight like we did, I feel like you forgot about that and you moved on, which is the best thing in football. The next play is the most important.
You know, to that point, you mentioned the San Francisco game. Boy, the season could have gone one of 2 ways. I mean, when you take a beating like that on your home field, it could have spiraled out of control. But kudos to, I guess, the leadership of this team, right? I mean, Peterson and obviously Trevor Lawrence and everybody involved there to not let that happen and pick up a couple of big divisional wins here in the last 2 weeks.
I mean, it is huge. I mean, you got a guy like Doug who's been to the promised land, and, you know, you can tell that Trevor is the leader of this team, and he took it upon himself to bring energy into that facility after with that big loss. And, you know, them things happen, man. I mean, even with us, I mean, we lost to Tennessee 3 times that year, but I mean, we still had to keep playing them. I mean, there's nothing you can do. You still got to keep playing the next game. And I feel like this team learned from last year about, you know, being more decisive in the next game and just go. Like, we can't do nothing about the past. Let's just go.
Former Jaguar defensive back Aaron Beasley here with us on 1010XL in Jacksonville. Aaron, since that San Francisco game, 2 games since, Tennessee and Houston, Trevor Lawrence has thrown for over 620 yards, 3 touchdowns through the air, 3 touchdowns that he's ran for himself. I mean, the offense is flourishing, and Zay Jones has come back. Zay Jones missed 5 games, and he's been back the last 2 games, not putting up big numbers. But is that a coincidence, or is there something to that, Aaron? When Zay Jones returns to the lineup, all of a sudden the offense is putting up big numbers.
Well, when you have 3 good or great receivers, I mean, your D-backs are stressed. I mean, you can't double everybody. I mean, you can't. And I feel like the confidence that Trevor has in Zay is just through the 3 years of them being together. I mean, I think Zay came in Trevor's first year, and they just have a comfort with each other. So, I mean, it's evident out there. Like, Trevor is just throwing that ball. I'm watching, like, across the league, just different podcasts, and people are saying the same thing, man. That ball comes out, and it's a blur. Like, I was watching the game, some highlights the other day, and I'm like, man, you can't even see the ball get in there, some of those throws. So he's just playing at a level that's, I mean, one of the best quarterbacks in the league. And when you do have weapons like we have, I mean, you can't focus on one guy. You can't focus on our receivers because our tight ends can get you. You focus on our running back. I mean, we're good with play action. I mean, we have a great sort of weapons out there for Trevor.
You know, anytime you talk, again, Aaron Beasley here with us, anytime you talk to some of your former peers in the league, former defensive backs, they always talk about Ridley and Kirk in particular and their route running. Speak on that, Aaron. I mean, how important is that? And is that the reason Ridley and Christian Kirk are as successful as they are, is because of their route running?
I think so. I mean, when I went to camp and saw Ridley working on some of his routes, I'm like, man, the precision that he runs them with, and Kirk, they run their routes and there's no wasted motion. And what I see is, like, guys like that, the first 5 to 10 yards always looks the same, whether it's a run, whether it's a pass. So you have to always be on point. And I mean, it's tough as a D-back nowadays. I mean, you can't be as physical to set that, that mental part of the game where you're not going to cross this middle. Now guys can cross that middle and not have as much fear. So, you take a guy like Donovan Darius and you put him in today's game. I told him the other day, I was like, man, you would be fined so much.
Yeah. Well, particularly that Robert Ferguson hit at Lambeau Field. I'll never forget that one.
Yeah, that was pretty ugly. I reminded him about that the other day too, man. But the thing is, I mean, they're playing the game the way it is, and it's they're taking advantage. And we have great route runners, and when you have 3 great route runners, tight ends that can run routes, I mean, and a running back that's basically a receiver in a running back's body, I mean, weapons all over the field. You can't just key on one person.
Former Jaguar defensive back Aaron Beasley. All right, Aaron, let's get to the defensive side of the ball, your specialty. Boy, Josh Allen was nothing short of a ferocious monster on Sunday. The dude has 12 sacks on the year. He just passed Ngakoue for second all-time in sacks for the Jaguars. He's 17 behind your former teammate T. Brack, and who knows, maybe next year or year after he might pass him to get to number 1 all time. Just your thoughts on Josh Allen and Trayvon Walker, and it certainly looks like the pass rush is improving every single week.
Man, whatever Josh Allen did, because he didn't practice with the team in the offseason. He went out there and got on some spiritual stuff, man. And it's sometimes that works, man, because you put so much pressure on yourself to be great. And I feel like he went somewhere and just got his mind free. And he's just out there. I mean, every play, he's upfield. I wish we'd have had more sacks, though. That scared me. You know, they stepped up in the pocket. We got to get some interior push-up in there so he can't just step up in there. But as far as, you know, the pressure, both guys are just, you know, it would be a pleasure to play for guys like that. I mean, I played with T. Brack, but, I mean, you got both of these guys. I mean, you know the ball has to come out quick. And that's great for a D-back because we have a time clock in our head. You know, we have the 3-step read. And then we have a certain amount of, we call it 3-10-30. You got a 3-step read. Then you got your 5-step read, which is more like a 10-yard route or 12-yard route. Then you got your 30, which is like the deep balls. But we have a time clock, too, just like the rhythm of the game.
You know, you mentioned C.J. Stroud there and stepping up into the pocket. You had Steve McNair and Mark Brunell in the same division, not for a long time, but for a couple of years, and those were great matchups. But you look now, Aaron, Trevor Lawrence is 24. C.J. Stroud is 22. I mean, you're talking maybe the next decade plus, you could have Stroud v. Lawrence twice a year in the AFC South.
I wouldn't even sleep on the other two young guys, Levis and Richardson. I mean, they loaded up this year in the division. So, I mean, that's the key to this game. I mean, you don't see too many teams nowadays winning without a great quarterback. So, I feel like our division in the next 4 or 5 years is going to be like how our AFC Central was. You never know who's going to win every game. It's just going to be competition every week, which is great for the game. I love it because it's going to make everybody step their game up. You know, so now Trevor knows every week he has to be at his A+, and that is great for the Jaguars.
Final moments here with former Jaguar defensive back Aaron Beasley. He's with us here on 1010XL in Jacksonville. Aaron, Mike Caldwell, the Jaguar D coordinator, they've done a fantastic job. There were questions about this defense coming into the year. I'd say with the exception of San Francisco and maybe the second half against Houston in week 3, the other 9.5 games, they've been borderline fantastic. I mean, the defense as a whole, are you impressed with what you've seen?
I love it. I mean, because, you know, sometimes we get so captured into what the stats are looking like. I remember earlier in the year we were giving up pretty many passing yards. But when I look at it as, are we getting that ball back for our offense with that potent offense? And our defense early on was keeping us in the game and actually winning some games. And that's what you want. You want that good balance. You want to have both teams like in top 10, offense and defense. And I love what I see because we're flying to the ball. We look more comfortable in the defense because it's our second year. People forget about it. I mean, we had a first-year coordinator here, and he was getting used to the players, and now I feel like he's comfortable. Now I see more blitzing now. I mean, that's good too. So I just feel like our team is well-balanced, offense, defense, our special teams. I would like to see Jamal break one. That would be a good, you know, get the 3 phases, get that special teams in there for a touchdown this week.
Yeah, no question about it. Brandon McMahon is doing a good job in the kicking game as well. All right, Aaron, Monday Night Football, first time in 12 years. That's crazy to think about, but the first time in 12 years that Monday Night Football will be here in Jacksonville. You obviously played in a bunch of Monday Night Football games during your career. I heard Josh Allen in the postgame locker room on Sunday in Houston talking about he's never played on Monday Night Football. Trevor Lawrence, I mean, a lot of these young guys have never played on Monday Night Football. What will that experience be like for them, and how, like, tempered do your enthusiasm have to be, because we're still, you know, a few days out from that environment?
Well, it was a little different for me because I was a wild man out there, and sitting around waiting all day drove me crazy because you try to wait. I mean, you watched all the games on Sunday. You watch the Sunday night game, and then you wake up, you still got all day. So I feel like the best thing to do is try to find something to do to just relax. You know, maybe play a little Xbox, stay in your room, chill out, watch some little extra film, but you don't want to get too juiced up too early. You want to save that energy because, I mean, everybody's going to be watching. You know it, your family, and you're going to want to go out there and you want to make every play. But the whole concept of the team game is doing your job full speed. So, you still got to stay within yourself, but just know the energy is going to be a little bit higher.
We obviously thought it was going to be Joe Burrow. It is not. It is Jake Browning. He's going to be making, I guess, his second career start. Now, they got weapons, right? I mean, Jamar Chase and Joe Mixon, Boyd. We'll see what Higgins' status is as the week goes on. But I think you got to be careful, Aaron, because everybody's going to pick Jacksonville because of no Joe Burrow. But, again, the talent on that team, it's a desperate Cincy team coming in at 5-6. They almost have to win on Monday night. Jaguars, to me, need to be a little bit careful in this one.
I agree. This is one of those setup games. Everybody knows Burrow's not here, but like you said, they have weapons, and this is the NFL. This guy wouldn't be playing in the NFL if he wasn't good enough. So, like you said, though, they have to just come out and put their foot on their neck right away. The defense has to come out, get some pressure, have the quarterback thinking the whole game, because when you got a younger quarterback, they don't see the amount of disguise. So we got to be good making him read on the run in his drops. Offense, just make your plays. I mean, they gave up 400 yards to Pittsburgh, which Pittsburgh hasn't had 400 yards in 50-some weeks. I mean, we gotta take advantage of that. We gotta score when we need to, and just play our game. I mean, when we play our game, it starts early. We're in rhythm. The ball's coming out early. You saw that the last two games. When we're not in rhythm, we do San Fran stuff. First play, we got to screen, the guy's blocking. So we just got to keep our heads, stay focused, and, let the best man win, and we should win.
Aaron, as we wrap up, from a defensive point of view, knowing you have a backup quarterback, does that get frustrating? I mean, you don't want to bury the kid if he doesn't do well, but there was some talk from Cincinnati media that some of the defensive guys were a little frustrated in the post-game locker room. They held Pittsburgh to 16. They gave up a lot of yards, but they only scored 16. But Cincy really couldn't do anything with the backup quarterback. If you're on the Cincy defense, what's the fine line between being a good teammate and trying not to get frustrated knowing you have a backup quarterback in there?
I mean, it's part of the game. I mean, you just have to go do your job. Like, I never really focused on what the other side was doing, because if we do our job, keep ourselves in the game, we give ourselves a chance. That's all you can do. I mean, Mark Brunell got hurt a couple times, but you just got to pick your game up and do things and make plays. Try to find a way that you can change the game within yourself.
I'll never forget Steve Matthews coming in and putting a 40 spot on the New York Giants in one of those games that Mark Brunell missed. I think that was back in 1997. Aaron, leave us with this. Your former teammate earlier this week, Fred Taylor, named to the semifinal list for the Pro Football Hall of Fame. Again, he's one of the final 25 they will consider. He needs to be in the 15 this year. He needs to be in the finals. I think it's lunacy that he hasn't gotten in that room yet to at least be discussed by the voters, but you got to be happy for your guy Fred to once again be a semifinalist.
Man, Fred is the best running back I've ever seen play, besides Barry. But Barry is Barry. But I say it like this, man. I mean, when you look at Fred, he has the numbers. You got to take the injuries out of there, because he even has the numbers with the injuries. And then when I look at Fred, I think he passes that eye test. When you see his highlights and some of the things he's done, I mean, he made it look so easy, but we went against some of the best defenses in football when he was playing. The Titans had their defense. The Ravens had their defense. And he was in Pittsburgh. He was still putting up these numbers. And, I mean, we had a great run, and it was mostly because of Fred, because he opened it up for Jimmy, opened up for Keenan. Kyle Brady became a pass-catching tight end before pass-catching tight ends were in. And, I mean, he just opened it up for everybody, because you got to have an extra man in the box, because if you don't, he'll carve you up.
Former Jaguar defensive back Aaron Beasley, always kind enough to join us here on 1010XL in Jacksonville. Aaron, I know you're busy, man. I really appreciate the time. Let's hope the Jaguars go out there and get it done on Monday night, and we'll talk soon, my friend. Thank you.
All right, man. No problem. Have a great day.
There you go. Aaron Beasley here with us on 1010XL and 92.5 FM on Hacker After Dark. Back into the National Football League in one moment. Did want to update you on a couple of things. 5 of our area high schools battling in the state Final Four tonight in St. Johns County at the half. St. Augustine leads Fort Myers Dunbar 14-6. St. Augustine is a perfect 12-0 on the year. They're looking to get one more to advance to the state championship game next week. They're up 14-6 on Fort Myers Dunbar. Bradford County's got some work to do in the second half. They trail Pensacola Catholic 14-0 at halftime. Bowles, likewise, a game on 10:10 a.m. They're going to have some work to do. They trail Miami Norland 14-0 in the second quarter. Mandarin has taken the lead on Coconut Creek Monarch. Mandarin, who has won 3 consecutive road games, all in Orlando against Winter Park, Lake Mary, and Sanford Seminole. They had to go even farther south tonight to Coconut Creek. They lead Monarch. That's Calvin Ridley's alma mater, 9-7 in the second quarter. And Trinity Christian, it's looking very good for Verlin Dormany and the Conquerors right now. They lead Clearwater Central 20-7 in the second quarter. Again, all the winners from tonight will advance to their respective classifications, state championship games next week. The Pac-12 championship is underway out in Las Vegas. Washington, an early field goal. They lead Oregon 3-0 more than midway through the opening quarter. We'll keep you updated on all that. Back into the NFL, let's crunch the numbers. You guys know that I love PFF, a little pro football focus. One of my guys at PFF is Ben Lindsay. Let's talk Jaguars. Let's talk Bengals. But let's also look around the AFC South, and let's talk AFC playoffs as a whole. Ben Lindsay, PFF.com, next on Hacker After Dark.
1010XL says thank you for supporting the Tom Coughlin J Fund and helping families battle childhood cancer. The Radiothon raised over $268,000 and generous challenge matches by U.S. Assure, Florida Backyard, Pet Paradise, e-file.com, Dandy Foods, Bari Orthopedics, Small Cakes Cupcakery, Dreamfinders Homes, the Nimnick family of dealerships, and Window World of Northeast Florida played a big part in helping so many families.
Hey folks, if you want to add value to your home without breaking the piggy bank, Shark Coatings offers multiple finance options to meet your budget. Like a smaller garage for as low as $45 per month, or a standard 2-car garage around $58 a month. And a 4-car driveway with a walkway is only $82 a month. Of course, each property is unique and our design consultants can give you exact pricing for your project. But here's a way to only spend a little each month for the Shark Coatings your concrete floors need now. Shark Coatings, we're ready when you are.
Salvatore's Pizza coming to Jacksonville. Salvatores.com.
If you have a slow draining sink or toilet that sounds like it's about to back up, imagine the potential plumbing emergency when you have family over for the holidays. Flush after flush after flush. Avoid holiday clogs with a call to Duck Duck Rooter today. Duck Duck Rooter will come and resolve those plumbing issues so you can enjoy a free-flowing holiday season. Call 904-862-6769. Visit duckduckrooter.com.
Are you embarrassed by your ugly, cracked concrete driveway? Need to enhance your home's curb appeal? StoneCore on Phillips Highway is your one-stop shop for all your outdoor needs. Replacing with new stone pavers will transform your driveway into a stunning work of art. Say goodbye to unsightly concrete and hello to beautiful, durable pavers that last for years. Visit StoneCore today and let's beautify your home together. StoneCore.co. We do outdoors better.
South Florida comes to North Florida on the Hurricane Report.
I'm JJ LaSelva, and I'll keep you close to Coral Gables.
Find out what you need to know about the Canes on the Performance Painting Hurricane Report. Prepare, protect, preserve on 1010XL.
Did you know the new 2023 Honda Accord Hybrid has an onboard system that charges the battery so you never have to plug it in? When you think Honda, you think quality, value, safety. Now think hybrid. Visit your local Honda dealer and experience the car of tomorrow today.
Attention golfers, Hidden Hills Golf Club has become an attractive destination for golfers all over North Florida. You too will enjoy our classic Arnold Palmer design that'll test your game and keep you coming back. Book a tee time today at hiddenhillsgc.com.
Hacker here, and look, football season is in full swing, and no game day setup is complete without the Sausage Dude sausage. I'm a sausage guy, and the Sausage Dude sausage is the best sausage I've ever had. Try their 4 terrific flavors, including Polish, Hungarian, beer bratwurst with jalapeno, and my personal favorite, the Italian today, by picking them up at any Publix in the Jacksonville area. Football and sausage, it's a winning combination. Go get the Sausage Dude sausage at any Publix in the Jacksonville area right now.
Atlantic Self Storage, the official storage partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Need to make room to watch football in your home, or need a place to park your boat or RV? Store it all at Atlantic Self Storage. Over 50 locations in Northeast Florida. 24-hour access, all with month-to-month leases. Moving? They can help with supplies. They make storage easy. Go to AtlanticSelfStorage.com or call 877-WE-STORE to find a storage solution near you. Go Jags!
Want to be up close and personal with the Jaguars as they take the field? Here's your chance to be in the shadows, outside the Jaguars locker room, now called the Vault. Enter today at jaguars.com/shadows. One winner a guest for every home game at Everbank Stadium. No purchase to enter or win, must be 18 or older and a legal resident of Florida or Georgia. Promotion period 9/5/23 through 12/15/23. For official rules and complete details, visit jaguars.com. Sponsored by Jacksonville Jaguars, LLC.
Looking for quality equipment and a name you can trust? Lepo Rents, Bobcat of Jacksonville, is your premier construction equipment dealer and rental house. We have the right equipment for the job, offering the big and small tools needed for your next project. Lepo sells and rents track loaders, excavators, boom lifts, and much more. For your next project, remember Lepo Rents, your authorized Bobcat dealer in Jacksonville. Visit them online at leporents.com.
Since 2014, there's been only one official home builder of the Jaguars, Dreamfinders Homes. With quality-built homes and a speedy move-in process, we're in 20-plus communities in the best locations across Northeast Florida. Dreamfinders Homes is everywhere you want to live. So get off the sidelines, Jags fans, and get into the game. Let Dreamfinders help you navigate your home purchase and offer great interest rates. Visit DreamfindersHomes.com for all your move-in ready homes and step up your game.
Hayes Carline here. Rediscover the joy of hearing. Dr. Douglas Green and their expert team is offering a Here for the Holidays discount off hearing aids in December. Near the town center, visit Jacksonville Hearing and Balance or jhbi.org.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Let's ring up another guest on the All-Pro Roofing phone line.
Back here on 1010XL and 92.5 FM in the city of Jacksonville, we are glad you are with us. The Jaguars and the Bengals, Monday night at Everbank Stadium. Of course, you'll hear the game right here on 1010XL as for the first time in 12 years, Monday Night Football returns to Duval County. With that, we welcome in my friend Ben Lindsay of Pro Football Focus. You guys know I love PFF, and we're going to break down the Jags, Bengals, and take a look around the entirety of the National Football League. Ben, how you doing, man?
I'm doing well. It's good to be on.
Hey, Ben, always appreciate the time. Know you're busy this time of year. And all right, man, you and I haven't talked since the preseason, so obviously 11 games in for the Jaguars. Just your thoughts, 8-3, kind of where they sit, how they've looked 11 games into the year.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to complain about 8-3 and where they're sitting right now. Big win over Houston last week. I think the thing I've been most surprised with Jacksonville this year is kind of how well their defense has played. I know they had some younger pieces, and some of those guys have come on, Devin Lloyd, right, some of the corners. And that unit has really kind of helped them get to where they are while the offense has kind of tried to figure things out. Lawrence is playing really well. But in general, I think it's been kind of surprising to see the defense play the way they have, and the offense kind of have some growing pains this year.
Yeah, to that point, I want to focus on the defense in a moment. First to Trevor and the offense. It's interesting, Ben. They struggled, quite frankly, up until about the last couple of weeks, you could argue. And then after that San Francisco game, I don't know what's happened other than Zay Jones has come back in the lineup, and he's not necessarily catching a lot of balls, but maybe it's his presence out there. But they've looked like a much different offense in wins over Tennessee and last week over Houston, as Trevor Lawrence has thrown for over 620 yards in those two games.
Yeah, Doug Peterson, I think 2 weeks ago, kind of made comments about Jacksonville needing to be more intentional about taking some shots, right, and trying to get the ball downfield. And I think that you've seen the last 2 weeks, two of Trevor Lawrence's three highest average depth of target games have been against Tennessee and then last week against Houston. So they are starting to push the ball downfield a little bit, and I think that's going to open up the rest of the offense because without a run game that's been super effective, right, and if you're trying to just move the ball downfield with the quick rhythm passing game, that's something that Lawrence does really well, but it's also easier for defenses to sort of sit on routes and try to take that stuff away if they're not really afraid of you going over their heads.
Ben Lindsay of Pro Football Focus here with us on 1010XL in Jacksonville. Ben, you talk about distributing the football. Last week against Houston, 6 guys had at least 30 yards receiving, which is just nuts to think about. And also along those lines, you got Calvin Ridley, Christian Kirk, and Evan Ingram are all 47 catches or more through 11 games. So obviously they maybe don't have that wide receiver one still, but Lawrence is getting it to all his weapons, using them very, very well.
Yeah, it's a balanced offense with a lot of different options. And that was the case last year, too, even without Ridley. And it's part of the reason that they had so much success against man coverages is there's a lot of different outlets for Lawrence to get the ball. And they do a good job out of bunches and different things to get those guys free. And it's really tough for defenses to deal with when you've got guys like Kirk who can win vertically from the slot. He can win on quick outs. Ingram, you can move around the formation, right? He has over 100 snaps in line, wide, slot, and then Ridley, who's he's had some disappointing moments, especially early in the year, but he can still win as a route runner at all three levels. So it's a good group for Lawrence to get the ball out to.
You guys are all about the numbers at PFF, no question about it. As far as the offensive line goes, they were awful against San Francisco. I think they'll even admit they were awful. But then again, Tennessee, a decent D-line. Houston, a decent D-line. Maybe the O-line's best 2 games here in Jacksonville. Now they had the issue with Cam Robinson getting hurt and going on short-term IR. But again, kudos to Trent Baalke. He goes out and gets Ezra Cleveland at the trade deadline. And last week, you slide Little out to left tackle. You put Cleveland in at left guard. And, Ben, it didn't look like they missed a beat.
No, and the Cleveland addition is big, right? Left guard had been an issue for them. And Cleveland's a guy who was playing really well in Minnesota prior to that trade. I think it was just a deal where I think his contract's up at the end of this year. They wanted to get something for him. But Cleveland really solidifies that left guard spot. And Little has actually graded better for us at left tackle than he had at left guard this year. The offensive line in general, I think, has done a pretty good job in pass pro. It's been more the run game that's been the issue for them in terms of run blocking.
Ben Lindsay of Pro Football Focus here with us on 1010XL in Jacksonville. The Jaguars and the Bengals Monday night at Everbank Stadium. To the defensive side of the ball, Ben, it's a contract year for Josh Allen, and he is going to get paid. That guy was a ferocious monster last week in the fourth quarter against Houston, and he's been one of the best defensive players, pass rushers in the NFL the entire year.
Yeah, and he's got a matchup on Monday against Orlando Brown that, yes, Brown, he got a lot of money this offseason. Cincinnati brought him in to shore up that left tackle spot. But he's been beatable, especially the last 5-6 weeks, one of the higher pressure rates allowed at the position. And like you said, Allen's been on a tear. He's been comfortably their best pass rusher, one of the best all-around edge defenders in the NFL. And that's a matchup, especially with Browning at quarterback, right? You don't have Burrow back there to sort of protect the O-line like he was earlier in the year. That's a matchup that Allen has a good chance to add to his sack total on Monday.
You know, the casual NFL fan will tell you that Aiden Hutchinson's a better player than Trayvon Walker, and they're not wrong. Aiden Hutchinson, I would say, is better than Trayvon Walker, but I would pump the brakes a little bit on how much better. Trayvon Walker, to me, Ben, is improving every week. You saw it last week against Houston, And if you were to black out the numbers, right, just put two guys side by side, sacks, tackles for loss, tackles in general, these different variables that we grade guys on, boy, it's a lot closer between Hutchinson and Walker than I think most people would believe. What's your thought on Trayvon Walker?
Yeah, I think Hutchinson has been the better player in the NFL, but Walker was always a guy who it was probably going to take a little bit longer. He wasn't as sort of polished as Hutchinson coming out of Michigan when he came out of Georgia. And you've seen flashes for sure. His ability to kind of push the pocket and his size, his athleticism, that's all there, right? So I think it's too early to write him off as a bust, even if the numbers haven't been quite as good as Hutchinson to this point in their careers.
You know, you mentioned a couple of linebackers, Oluwakin and Devin Lloyd. Again, you guys are the numbers guys, and that's why I love PFF. But when I'm watching these two guys on Sunday, Ben, 23 and 33 seemingly are all over the place. Are they playing as good as it appears from the eye test?
Yeah, it's been one of the best linebacker duos in the league this season, right? That's an area Oluwakin has always, he's been making plays the last few years. I think he's even elevated this year from what you saw at the end of his time in Atlanta and last year in Jacksonville. And Lloyd has taken a big leap, both in the run game and in coverage, right? Those guys rarely come off the field, and they've been super productive. And it's a big part of why Jacksonville's defense has had the success that it has, right? They can add on as blitzers. You can trust them in sort of different roles in coverage. And they've been massive for that group on defense.
And the secondary, too. I mean, Tyson Campbell's had some injury problems, but Darius Williams has been nothing short of phenomenal. And I love what I've seen out of Cisco, Jenkins, and even Wingard when they go in a 3-safety look. I mean, the secondary, Ben, to me, has also played very well as of late.
Yeah, and I think coverage has been the big thing with their defense. They've been good against the run. A lot of that is kind of scheme, right? They're pretty high, 8+ in the box team. They're in base defense a lot with 4 defensive backs on the field. But the coverage has really impressed me. You mentioned Williams. Up there in terms of forced incompletions in the NFL. He's a smaller guy on the outside, but he plays the catch point really well. Cisco's a playmaker on the back end. They're getting the best play they've got out of Trey Herndon sort of throughout his career. So it's been an impressive group in coverage. And when you can hold up on the back end like they've been able to, that gives time to guys like Josh Allen and the rest of that pass rush group to get home. And I think you've seen that in some of their pressure numbers.
Couple of more for Ben Lindsay of Pro Football Focus, PFF.com. Ben, Cincinnati comes in here on Monday. Let's talk about Jake Browning. Obviously, the loss of Burrow was massive. A lot of Jaguar fans have never seen Jake Browning. I remember him up at the University of Washington. Watched a little bit of him last week, his first start against Pittsburgh. What kind of quarterback is he, and what challenges could he present for the Jaguar defense?
Yeah, he's got some mobility, and I think you've seen that the last couple of weeks when he came in against Baltimore and then last week against Pittsburgh. Right, he can take off and scramble if you lose contain. I do think he relies on that a little bit too much. He's not Lamar Jackson. He's not Josh Allen. He's not any of those types of quarterbacks when it comes to mobility. He kind of plays like he is, like he can get out of some of those situations. And I think I mentioned it with Allen kind of earlier in Brown. That's an issue when you're behind the Cincinnati offensive line that I think Burrow's done a really good job of making them look a little bit better than they've been playing so far this year. And when you got Browning staying back there for 3+ seconds, he's gonna have some issues against this Jacksonville pass rush. But he will make some plays with his legs on sort of the flip side of that.
As far as the Jaguar offense, Ben, against the Cincinnati defense, talking to folks up in Cincinnati, they don't like playing rookies, but they have to with the departures of Von Bell and Jesse Bates, and they got some youngsters in that secondary that might be able to be taken advantage of.
Yeah, Jordan Battle's come in at safety the last couple weeks for Nick Scott. He's played pretty well, but in general, this has been a Bengals defense that has given up way too many big plays. They're towards the top of the league in gains of 20+ yards allowed. They haven't really been able to stop the run. You go back to that Pittsburgh game, Najee Harris had one of the better games of his career against this Bengals run defense. That has kind of been a consistent theme throughout the season. So when you're not stopping the run, when you're giving up a ton of big plays, it's been a disappointing year for them. I think they miss Jesse Bates and Von Bell, those two guys you called out. I think they miss some of the corners that have sort of been cycling out with injury the last few weeks. So it's been a tough year for them on that side of the ball.
Final moments, Ben Lindsay, Pro Football Focus. Ben, let's spread out a little bit into the division. I was not as high on Houston going into last week as they were nationally. I thought they were getting a lot of national love. I kind of understand why now in watching them last week. That is a good football team. That's why I think the Jaguar win out there was just enormous. I'm not sure, quite frankly, how many more games Houston is going to lose. I really like Stroud. They got something out there, right?
Yeah, no, there's going to be a lot of interesting battles between Stroud and Lawrence the next couple of years. I don't think anyone really expected this with Stroud coming out of Ohio State. He showed flashes in that Georgia game of what he could do sort of outside of structure, and that's carried over to the NFL. And then you put him in that sort of Shanahan tree offense with Bobby Slowick at offensive coordinator, and they've been really impressive, especially passing the ball to their young receivers, Tank Dell and Nico Collins. They've got a nice foundation there to continue to build on over the next couple of years.
How does somebody like Tank Dell fall in the draft? How did that happen?
Size. I think it's size. And you're really seeing more of these smaller receivers. It's just easier for them to have success in this version of the modern NFL. And Dell, he was this player at Houston, right? He's a good route runner. He's fast, good body control. It was just you have issues putting a guy like that on the outside at his size. There's just not a lot of precedent for it, and he's showing in the NFL that it doesn't really matter. He can still be one of the more efficient receivers in the league, like he's been this year. Not just rookies, just wide receivers in general.
Ben, before we get out of here, the Colts and the Titans play each other on Sunday, which will be kind of nice. Jaguar fans can watch that game getting ready for Monday night. First to Indianapolis. Well, give Shane Steichen credit. That team is 6-3 against teams not named Jacksonville. And they've beat some good football teams with a backup quarterback for the most part in Gardner Minshew. And if the playoffs started today, I believe Indianapolis is in. I mean, Steichen needs to be in the running for Coach of the Year at this point.
Yeah, they've been one of the bigger overachievers in the NFL this year, and I think Steichen's a big part of it. You saw him Justin Herbert's rookie year, right? He was in LA. Then he goes to Philly and kind of turns that offense around with Jalen Hurts. And he's doing similar things in Indianapolis this year. Anthony Richardson goes down. They're still competitive with Gardner Minshew. I think he's one of the better offensive play callers in the league, right? And they've overachieved on defense too. They've been a team that has been more competitive than sort of the talent level on their roster would lead you to believe.
It's a small sample size, but do you believe Will Levis is the future in Nashville?
I don't know if he's the future, but I think you have to at least see next year what you have in him. That situation behind that offensive line is really rough. That line is bad, and Levis is a pocket passer, right? He's a guy who's going to stand in there and deliver balls. He has some athleticism to get out of the pocket. He just doesn't. That's not his game. But I think he's shown that game against Pittsburgh on Thursday night, right? He was delivering accurate passes with guys on top of him. There's been some shaky moments since. I don't know if he's the guy, but I think Tennessee has to at least see what they have in him next year.
Ben, final question. It's a battle royal atop the AFC, right? Baltimore at 9-3, and then you got the Dolphins, the Chiefs, and the Jaguars all at 8-3, and they're all fighting for that positioning. Although, heck, in Jacksonville's case, they're 6-0 away from home this year. I mean, yeah, it'd be nice to have home field advantage, but good grief, they haven't lost a game outside of Duval County. How do you think that shakes out when all's said and done, and the postseason arrives here in a month and a half between the Chiefs, the Ravens, the Jaguars, and the Dolphins?
It's tighter than it has been the last few years, but I still think that you have to kind of side with the Chiefs are going to figure it out. Because of Mahomes and what he's been able to show. The wide receiver situation in Kansas City has been rough, and I think you're seeing they're trying to figure things out. It's an offense that has already evolved a couple times in the last few years, and it's doing so again. But you have Mahomes. You have a defense that is honestly one of the best defenses they've had since he got there, a top 5 defense in the NFL with the way they're playing right now. So I think they're still the favorite. They're still the team to beat at the top of the AFC.
Ben Wenzel, Pro Football Focus, PFF.com. We absolutely love it, and we love having Ben on here on 1010XL and 92.5 FM. Ben, like I said, man, know you're busy, brother. Thank you for the time. We'll do it again soon.
Anytime. Appreciate it, man.
I'm Greg Coleman, former Reigns High Viking and Minnesota Viking. This is Bill Polian of ESPN on 1010XL 92.5 FM.
You've got a circle of friends, right? Well, how about a circle of beer? All your favorites like Bud Light, Bud Heavy, Mick Ultra, or Natty Light. It's all there in the cold case at Circle K. Probably one right around the corner right now calling your name. Slide on in to a Circle K.
Looking for the perfect stocking stuffer? How about the Blue Crab Crab House? Right now, buy a $50 gift card, you get $15 free. $50 gives you an additional $15. Also sign up. The private dining room is available for you. Call them 260-CRAB for all the details. Tuesday through Saturday, 4:30 to 9, Sunday noon to 9, only at the Blue Crab Crab House right off of San Jose, Jointon Creek Road.
This is your Mad Dads Update with Chapter President Donald Ford. Mad Dads is asking for good, committed men who want to be part of an organization that has been around for 17 years. We are a group that is part of the solution, not the problem. We are a group that don't stand around murmuring and complaining, but get into action and hit the streets to get the community to break the code of silence to remove the murderers off our streets. We do not require a lot of time, just willing and able bodies to get involved. We've had far too many murders this year already not to get involved. If you want to be part of this great organization, call 904-718-1649. We're looking for men, not men acting like boys. Hit me on Facebook and tell me what you think. For information about Mad Dad, go to Mad Dads Jacksonville Chapter Facebook or MadDadsJacksonville.com.
I'm Jeff Middlecoff with Trustline Mortgage. My business partners, Alan Tyre, Bill Pappas, and Ken Rimley, have been helping first-time home buyers with their mortgage financing all over Florida for 34 years. First-time home buyers can get no or low down payments, anywhere from 0 to 3.5% down. As a first-time home buyer with Trustline Mortgage, you get added benefits for doing your loan with us, like lower rates on your mortgage insurance and lower closing costs. Oh, and did I forget to mention that Trustline gives first-time homebuyers better mortgage interest rates? Here's the bottom line. Trustline Mortgage wants to help first-time homebuyers accomplish your goal of home ownership. That's why Trustline Mortgage is offering the best first-time homebuyer benefits around, period. Trustline Mortgage delivers with no and low down payments, lower closing costs, and better interest rates. Call Trustline Mortgage today at 381-LOAN. Yes, 381-LOAN to find out how we can help you buy your dream home. Or visit our website at TrustlineMortgage.com. Trust your instincts and follow the line to Trustline Mortgage.
Certain restrictions apply. See office for details. Trustline is an equal housing opportunity. MLS number 331480.
The flagship station of the Jacksonville Jaguars. WJXL AM Jacksonville Beach. WJXL FM Jacksonville Beach.
The holidays provide a good reminder to ensure your vehicle is well maintained for safe and reliable travels. So in the spirit of giving, Famous Automotive and Tire is offering a buy 3, get 1 free promotion on all size tires and brands. All new tire sizes and brands, buy 3, get 1 free. This holiday sale also applies to all shocks and struts. Visit the shop for details and get your vehicle holiday ready at Famous Automotive and Tire. 7 locations servicing every customer like they're famous.
Superior Fence and Rail knows about exceptional customer service. From the first call to the final inspection, Superior's team provides first-class care with great communication, friendly installers, and quality fence products. There's a reason why Superior is the top-rated fence company in Jacksonville. So get off the fence and call Superior Fence and Rail for your new fence today.
When you're on the fence about a fence, SuperiorFenceandRail.com.
This is Hayes Carline here to help you break free from the chains of pest infestation. The talk of this town is Kingfish Pest Control. By now, many of your neighbors have already joined the Kingfish Revolution, leaving their homes and lawns protected and pest-free. Now it's your turn. Call Kingfish Pest Control and say goodbye to termites, ants, mosquitoes, and other annoying pests. Trust me, you'll get exceptional service and understand why your neighbors and I use Kingfish Pest Control, proud partner of the Jaguars.
Are you about ready to deck the halls for the holidays, but your home is cluttered with unwanted junk? Don't let the mess dampen your holiday spirit. Call J-Dog Junk Removal. And it's not just about cleaning up your space, it's about making a positive impact. You deserve a clutter-free home to celebrate in style. They're on a mission to make your holidays brighter and your home junk-free. Call now at 844-GET-JDOG or enter your zip code at jdog.com. J-Dog Junk Removal. Veteran-owned, veteran-operated.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Hacker After Dark on 1010XL.
9 o'clock hour has arrived. Hacker After Dark will take you up till 10 o'clock tonight here on 1010XL and 92.5 FM. Coming up at the bottom of the 9 o'clock hour, Logan Robinson, one of my guys in Tallahassee. In fact, he's actually up in Charlotte right now getting ready for the ACC Championship game. He is the founder of Knoll Game Day, which is powered by Sports Illustrated. We'll preview Florida State and Louisville coming up tomorrow night at 8 o'clock. Coming up in less than 10 minutes, Brian Sexton of Jaguars.com talking Jags and Bengals. To update you on the high school scores involving area teams, state Final Four action for all 5 of these teams in their given classifications. St. Augustine has scored a touchdown. They're now up 21-6 on Fort Myers-Dunbar in the third quarter. Pensacola Catholic continues to lead Bradford County 14-0, that game in the third quarter. Trinity Christian down in Clearwater still holds a 6-point lead, 20-14 late in the third. Miami-Norland leading the Bulldogs 14-0. That Miami-Norland team is ranked in the top 15 in America. They're up by 2 touchdowns on Bulls at halftime. And Mandarin, a defensive battle against Coconut Creek Monarch. Mandarin looking for their 4th road win in a row. They lead Monarch 9-7 at halftime. As far as college football, Washington up 10-0 on Oregon. However, Oregon is they lining up for a field goal here, Denmark. I know it's 4th down inside the Washington 20, so Oregon probably about to get on the scoreboard, but it's 10-0 Washington with about 8 minutes to go in the second quarter. Coming up next, Brian Sexton, Jaguars.com. Let's look at Jacksonville's first 11 games, and let's look ahead to Monday Night Football against Cincinnati and take a little look-see after Cincinnati, what lies ahead over the next month of the season. Brian Sexton next on Hacker After Dark.
Having hot water in your home is important for washing dishes, yourself, etc. But if your water isn't consistently nice and hot, it may become more of an issue when your family's over for the holidays.
There's no hot water!
Fix water heater problems with a call to Duck Duck Rooter today. Duck Duck Rooter will come and resolve it so you can enjoy lots of hot water this holiday season. Call 904-862-6769. Visit duckduckrooter.com.
Some days I cover up because of my moderate to severe plaque psoriasis. Now I'm hitting the road with clearer skin thanks to Skyrizi, Risankizumab Riza, a prescription-only 150 milligram injection for adults who are candidates for systemic or phototherapy. With Skyrizi, 3 out of 4 people achieved 90% clearer skin at 4 months. And Skyrizi is just 4 doses a year after 2 starter doses.
Don't use if allergic to Skyrizi. Serious allergic reactions and an increased risk of infections or a lower ability to fight them may occur. Before treatment, your doctor should check for infection and tuberculosis. Tell your doctor if you have an infection or symptoms such as fever, sweats, chills, muscle aches, or cough, or if you plan to or recently received a vaccine.
Thanks to Skyrizi, there's nothing on my skin, and that means everything. Ask your doctor today about Skyrizi, the #1 dermatologist prescribed biologic in psoriasis, and visit skyrizi.com or call 1-866-SKY-RIZZI to learn more.
So I'm here with Danny Van Sickle, director of the Electrical Training Alliance. Danny, tell me about your program.
Hey Rick, we're a 5-year electrical apprenticeship. Our students start out making over $30,000 a year and right now graduate making over $80,000 a year including benefits. There is no tuition and no student debt. You just have to apply and get accepted.
Did you say no tuition and no student debt?
You heard that right, Rick. Once you're accepted into the program, your only costs are the books and the course fees. Around $700 $100 a year.
Wow, that sounds like an amazing opportunity. How can I learn more?
Just go to etajax.org and you can apply there.
Apply by May 23rd.
Do you love sports? Do you also love wings? Enjoy the best wings in Jacksonville in Miramar, Mandarin, and Oakleaf at Players Grill. Watch your favorite teams and enjoy burgers, pizza, salads, and of course, wings. Players Grill, where the neighborhood meets.
This Date in Sports History is brought to you by Southeast Orthopedic Specialists.
On December 1st, 1956, led by future Basketball Hall of Famers Bill Russell and Casey Jones, the U.S. wins its 4th consecutive Olympic gold medal.
Allentown Mortgage gives you both a fast online application process and an expert mortgage advisor to get you the best mortgage at the most competitive rate in the nation. You can be a number at a big box bank and spend weeks filling out paperwork or call Allentown Mortgage. Eric summed it up in his 5-star Google review. Allentown knows the mortgage industry. When the big boxes say no, they say yes. The whole process went very smoothly. Get the mortgage experience you want. Go to allentownmortgage.com. That's allentownmortgage.com. NMLS number 103917, 4810 Executive Park, Jacksonville.
Find out what new golf equipment could help your game.
Well, I'm just a humble golf pro. Could I help you?
Get great golf tips and talk from the experts on the Edwin Watts Golf Hour.
Got to figure out why I'm still shaking the ball.
Saturday morning at 10 on 1010XL.
Lauren Brooks here. Tired of joint pain holding you back? Try BioTarget from Injury Care Centers. This treatment will prolong the life of your joints by targeting the root of your pain and delivering more regenerative cells to the affected area, ensuring faster and more effective healing, making BioTarget the most advanced regenerative treatment. For a limited time, BioTarget starts as low as $499. Call Injury Care Centers or visit GoBioTarget.com. That's GoBioTarget.com.
This is Keith Catlin for Catlin Truck Accessories, and we are so blessed to be in business for over 100 years. Over 100 years of the best product and customer service means you can count on Catlin. From roll and lock bed covers to Lear toppers to cam locker toolboxes, Catlin Truck Accessories has you covered when it comes to your truck or van. We do those too. Got a fleet of vehicles? We can outfit them all.
Who can you count on? Count on Catlin.
One name, one location, 100 years, you can count on Catlin.
Life is about choices and the decisions you make. I'm David Robbins with Epstein & Robbins. If you're convicted of a DUI, you'll have to face severe consequences. Walking through the doors of the courthouse or appearing at a bond hearing can be extremely intimidating. Without the right lawyer, you're likely to make the wrong decision. Let our team help you make the right decisions in court. Epstein & Robbins, the right choice.
Epstein & Robbins, fighting for your rights since 1975.
Come on, admit it. Almost everyone you know seems to be playing pickleball now, right? So whether you just want to learn how to play or you're ready to show off your elite pickleball skills, the Y is the place for you. Visit our brand new McGuire Family Pickleball Center at the Brown Family YMCA in Ponte Vedra Beach. 5 top quality outdoor courts and 3 amazing indoor courts where you can learn about dinks, dill ball, falafel, the kitchen, and more pickleball slang at the Y.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Let's ring up another guest on the All-Pro Roofing phone line.
Back here on 1010XL and 92.5 FM in the city of Jacksonville, and we are glad you are with us. The Jaguars now 8-3 on the year after a good road division win in Houston, and 1 week from right now, Monday Night Football returns to Jacksonville for the first time in, golly, over a decade, I believe, when Cincinnati rolls in. With all that being said, Brian Sexton from Jaguars.com. He's always kind enough to join us here on 1010XL in Jacksonville. Brian, hope your Thanksgiving was well, man. How are you?
I'm good. It's been 12 years. The last Monday Night Football appearance was Mel Tucker's first game as the interim head coach.
Wow, yeah.
It was the week that they announced Shad Khan was the prospective owner of the Jaguars, and it was the San Diego Chargers who rolled in here and rolled over the Jaguars that day. It was ugly. It was 38-14. But they played 2 games in 11, if you recall. It was Blaine Gabbert's rookie season, and Josh Scobie kicked 4 field goals in a Monday night game in which the Jaguars won 12-7, and John Gruden famously called out Blaine Gabbert for his pocket presence, and everything seemed to go asunder from there. But it's been a long time. Jack Del Rio was the head coach. Blaine Gabbert was a rookie. Shad Khan was just buying the team. It's been a while.
Yeah, it's been a long time since Monday Night Football has been here. It's what happens, though, when you got Doug Peterson, you got Trevor Lawrence. I mean, look, Brian, the last time you and I spoke was 2 weeks ago. At that point, the sky was falling, right? San Francisco 34-3, and people were panicking. But you and I said at the time, you beat Tennessee, you beat Houston, you take control of the division, and then the national folks will come back for Monday Night Football, and lo and behold, that exact scenario played out. 2 great wins by the Jaguars in the last 2 weeks.
Yeah, it was right after that 49ers game that the word focus was bandied about by a lot of different people. And with the result on the field, for good reason. You get beat 34-3 coming off your bye week in a game that everybody called a measuring stick game. Yeah, focus is just one thing that can be called into account. But you and I talked that day, and people in the building were talking. Win 2 games in the division, go to 8-3, and you're right where you want to be. They've got this thing by the throat right now. All they have to do is take care of their business. They control their own destiny. And if they continue to do that, 2 things happen. One is you win the division title and you have a home playoff game. But if you knock off the Ravens, right, and keep winning, you could host the playoffs. You could, believe it or not, have a first-round bye, depending on how things go with Kansas City. So there's a lot of reasons to play well. And this team has found a renewed focus. This coach is very good at getting this team to perform, not just on the field, but on the practice field and in the classrooms. He has a very nice edge to him as a former player, as a Super Bowl winning coach. And when he talked about focusing, when he urged his players to find a different level of focus, well, they've done it the last 2 weeks, and it's a good sign going forward.
Brian Sexton, Jaguars.com, here with us on 1010XL in Jacksonville. Brian, Trevor Lawrence, 620-plus yards passing over the last 2 wins. Your thoughts on his performance, and is it a coincidence that Zay Jones is back and the numbers are improving? What's your thought with that situation?
No, I don't think it's a coincidence. I mean, there's just such a comfort level with Zay. But if you think like a basketball fan or a basketball coach, you hear them talk about spacing so often, about creating shots by where guys are on the court. It's sort of the same thing in football. When Zay Jones is out there, you can't just throw a linebacker on him when he lines up as the second slot receiver. You've got to have a guy who is all about where is number 7. You've got to pay attention because he's got that big speed. He can get down the field. So guess what happens? Your fastest corner has to know where he's at. Well, then who's going to cover Calvin Ridley? The spacing issue has been so beneficial for Ridley, and you saw him come to life yesterday in the second half. 5 catches, right? But 4 of them were on the 2 drives that gave the Jaguars a 24-14 lead in the third quarter. It was great stuff. Zay Jones has a chemistry with the quarterback, but he also spaces the field so that other guys can go and make plays. Who would have thought when they signed Zay Jones last spring of 2022, that he would become the central figure in how everything just clicks? But he is. He is a terrific weapon and a really good teammate.
Brian, yesterday the Jaguars had 6 guys that had 30 receiving yards or more. That's crazy, right? 6 guys that had 30 receiving yards or more. And if you look at the season stats, Ingram, Kirk, and Ridley are all at 47 catches or more. I mean, you talk about distribution of the football. They're taking it to another level here in Jacksonville.
Well, this quarterback sees the field so well. And Doug was just on his news conference talking about how much he is improving. It's time on task. And yes, this is his 3rd season, but this is that moment where you go from taking what the defense gives you to dictating to the defense. And he's starting to do that. And, when you take what Doug and Press and Mike McCoy are able to do with all the different weapons as the quarterback feels comfortable behind an offensive line, he was barely touched yesterday. And the only sack he's given up in the past 2 weeks was when he ran out of bounds against the Titans. So it's a lot of different things, but it's all working to make the quarterback hyper efficient. And if that's the way he's going to play, man, I like their chances.
Yeah, there's no doubt about that. He's been very sharp. And you mentioned the O-line. Look, when the trade deadline came and went, people were upset about the pass rush. and we'll get to that in a moment because that was a great performance by them yesterday. But the one move they did make, Brian, was Ezra Cleveland, and you're thinking at the time, all right, that's weird, but let's just see what happens. And then all of a sudden Cam Robinson goes down yesterday at Houston. Walker Little then slides out to left, and in comes Ezra Cleveland, 42. Career starts at Minnesota, and that offensive line was nothing short of sensational in the pass game yesterday. That really shows the move Balky made. At the time, people questioned it, but man alive, did it pay dividends yesterday.
Well, look, for you and I and all of your listeners, it's easy to sit or to stand on the outside and look and identify a need and match it with a player at the trade deadline, right? That's what we were doing with, Chase Young or Choose, the pass rusher that you were interested in. But in reality, the Jaguars on the inside know what the demands are on their salary cap, where they're going to need to be able to use draft picks, and where they can afford to send draft picks. They knew that they weren't very deep on offensive line. They knew that they would need a seventh offensive lineman to be able to come in and play, and that Tyler Shatley, for everything he gives you in terms of break glass in case of emergency, in his 10th season, he's just not as mobile as he's been and wasn't playing as well as they wanted him to when he was at guard. So that's why they made the move and went and grabbed Ezra Cleveland for a fifth, a sixth round pick. You can do that. But with all the players the Jaguars are going to want to and need to sign in the spring, and the draft picks that they didn't want to give up for a pass rusher, I think they made the smart move. Because look, the pass rush was really, really good yesterday. I mean, really good. That quarterback made plays on the run, but he was on the run because the Jaguars forced him out of the pocket, and he wasn't comfortable sitting back there. Not with Josh Allen and Trayvon coming off the edge, not with Foley and Roy pushing the pocket, and Smoot as well. They knew what this team needed, and they went and they got it. Now, back to the question about the offensive line. I talked to Jeff Loggeman this morning, and he just shook his head when I asked him, is Ezra Cleveland their best option at left guard? He said he's the best left guard on the roster. So, you're going to slide Walker Little out for however long you're going to be without Cam Robinson. Walker is a tackle, right? That's what they see him as. That's what he sees himself as. Cleveland sees himself as a guard. So I think you've got a really good combination here. And they need to be better inside. They need to get more push off the ball on 3rd down and 2, which has been really difficult on this team this year. So hopefully Cleveland in the lineup gives them more push and allows them to run the ball on 3rd and 2 instead of pitching it or throwing it. Because 3rd down and 2, you ought to be able to come up with those yards.
Couple of more for Brian Sexton of Jaguars.com. Brian, you alluded to Josh Allen earlier. He was an absolute ferocious monster yesterday. Just huge sacks in the fourth quarter that really stalled what the Texans were trying to do and caused that 58-yard field goal to come up literally about a foot short there at the end of the game. Look, for the lack of pass rush conversation in the offseason, Josh Allen has certainly done his part. Trayvon Walker, I think, is improving. And you're starting to see guys like Roy Robertson Harris get a little bit in the backfield as well. But clearly, Josh Allen was the absolute star of that unit yesterday.
Nothing against Roy and Foley, because they both are big, strong men who are pushing the pocket. But what you're seeing now is the Trayvon Walker effect. Teams are having to account for him, which is giving Roy and Foley more one-on-one matchups. They're not being doubled, and they're able to slip their blocks and get into the backfield. Walker just keeps coming and coming and coming. And I know everybody wants to look at Aiden Hutchinson, but go look at his numbers. He's got 5.5 sacks on the year. Trayvon Walker has 4.5. Walker is getting better, and he is evolving as a player. And look, I've been trying to think of the right adjective, because when you say he's a great player, which I think he is, great is too strong of a word. He is a terrific football player, though. Is he a terrific pass rusher? Not yet, but he's coming. And when you've got to pay attention, where is 44? Man, 41 just comes at you. And Laramie Tunsil's a really good left tackle, and he played okay yesterday. It wasn't like he was dominated by Josh, but it felt like he was. I mean, with the game on the line, on the road, place is screaming loud, and here comes Josh Allen, in a year in which he called it a prove-it year for him. Prove it not to himself because he believes in himself, but prove it to the Jaguars how valuable he is. Oh, he earned his contract yesterday. There's no way that he is playing anywhere but Jacksonville in 2024 and beyond. I think he was trending that way, but yesterday in the fourth quarter with the 1.5 sacks and the way that he came up big against a great left tackle, Josh Allen was the man.
You've seen every quarterback sack in Jaguars history. He passed Ngakoue yesterday for second all-time. Still a ways to go to get to Brackens. But do you believe Josh Allen is the second-best pass rusher the Jaguars have ever had?
Yeah, I do. They've had some guys who have come around here and given them years. Bryce Paup was a factor in 1999. Aaron Campman didn't get enough time in 2010, but you could see that if he had stayed healthy, he would have been able to do it. Hugh Douglas was in 2003, nothing at all. Calais Campbell has the best single-season sack record. So when you talk about second-best pass rusher, Josh Allen is right there because I think he's going to end up with the single-season record. Brackens was a freak of nature, just a big, powerful man who could do a lot of different things when he was on the field. But I think with Josh, with a contract extension, you'll see him pass Brack and become, the most prolific pass rusher. It's tough to make comparisons because Brack is different than Calais, who's built differently than Josh. But Josh he's right there at the top of the list.
Final moments, Brian Sexton of Jaguars.com. Brian, before we get to Cincinnati, the Jaguars are not exactly healthy, man. I mean, Cam Robinson left that game. Tyson Campbell didn't play. Devon Hamilton was a healthy scratch. They don't have Jamal Agnew. I mean, you're talking about impact guys from last year's roster, and they still won an enormous division game on the road. Just certainly speaks to the overall depth of this team.
Yeah, they've built a nice roster here. And if you're looking for reasons to be even more excited than you were yesterday, it's that Tyson Campbell could be back this week, and Devon Hamilton will be back at some point in this stretch run when the Jaguars are going to need him collapsing the pocket. I'm not sure about Agnew and his shoulder, but he's not on the season-ending IR list, so there's a possibility that you could get him back as well. For all of the grief that Trent Baalke took, he has done a really nice job with this roster. There are still needs, but there's always going to be needs. There are some draft picks that don't pan out, but there's always draft picks in every city that don't pan out. I think you got to give the guy a lot of credit because he's got a roster, in less than 2 seasons that has a shot. And I emphasize, it's just a shot, but they have a shot at home field advantage throughout the playoffs if they take care of business here down the stretch. And we have every indication to believe that they're ready to accept that challenge and take care of business down the stretch.
Brian Sexton, Jaguars.com, here with us. Brian, that gets us to Monday Night Football. Look, that's going to be a desperate Cincinnati football team coming in here. Obviously, no Joe Burrow, and we understand that, but still a lot of talent. They're 5-6. You look at the standings, they almost have to win this game on Monday night to stay in contention for a wild card. I like the Jaguars and the way they're playing, but clearly they're going to have to be ready to play a desperate team on Monday night.
Yeah, this game loses some of its luster. It was a Monday night game on the schedule because of Burrow against Trevor Lawrence. I mean, that 2 superstar young quarterbacks, and I love Joe Burrow. He is a lot of fun to watch when he's playing someone other than the Jaguars. That being said, their quarterback, if you give him time, there are weapons for him. Jamar Chase, Boyd, Higgins, even Drew Sample, the tight end who had the touchdown against the Steelers, they're all capable. So if you give him the kind of time that he needs, there are guys who can help him out. And Joe Mixon is capable of taking over a game. If we see the Jaguars defensive front that we saw yesterday playing against the Bengals on Monday Night Football, I don't worry about them. I think this team is hyper-focused. I think they're ready to go. I know that the Bengals are going to be desperate, but I think that the Jaguars are more than up to the challenge of defending their home field and trying to get home field advantage. This is a team that's ready to take that next step. A win on Monday night, a convincing win, right, where it seems like they control the action, would go a long way towards getting them ready for what's going to be a tough game in Cleveland, and then the Sunday night game 2 weeks later against the Ravens.
Brian Sexton, Jaguars.com. Brian, final question. The fans, you said it's been 12 years since Monday Night Football. A lot of fans haven't experienced Monday Night Football. Boy, what a scene that should be at Everbank Stadium a week from tonight.
Yeah, and this town, whenever the bright lights shine on it, and we saw it last year against the Titans and against the Chargers, this place goes wild. It's a great scene. I expect it to be a great scene on Monday Night Football. And, Sunday Night Football has kind of become that crown jewel, but that's on a day full of football. Monday still stands alone, and ESPN put a ton of money into bringing their broadcast crew, Buck and Aikman together, and they put a lot of energy into their broadcast. This is a huge game for Jacksonville, and I don't have any doubt that it will show up. And as players like to say, show out. And I expect a crazy environment. It's going to be a lot of fun.
Brian Sexton, Jaguars.com. Brian, I know you're very busy, man. Thank you for the time. We'll do it again soon, my friend.
Thanks, Ryan. Always look forward to talking to you.
There you go, Brian Sexton, earlier in the week here on Hacker After Dark, updating you on the high school scores around the area. St. Augustine in the fourth quarter, 21-6 over Fort Myers Dunbar. Yellow Jackets less than 12 minutes away from playing for a state championship. Get a load of this. 6 minutes to go out in Bradford County. Pensacola Catholic up 14-7 on the Tornadoes. Bradford has lost 5 fumbles. They've lost 5 fumbles. But their defense is so good that they keep getting the ball back. Now, unfortunately, they keep fumbling it away, but they're only down 7 after 5 turnovers. They have the ball down a touchdown with about 6 minutes to go. A back-and-forth game in the third quarter between Monarch and Mandarin. Monarch out of Coconut Creek. That's a state semifinal. Monarch leads Mandarin 21-16 in the third quarter. Trinity Christian down a point. Clearwater up 21-20 on Trinity Christian in the third quarter. And Miami Norwin continues to lead Bowles over on 10:10 a.m. if they've moved into second half action. So a lot of these games are coming down to the wire. Most of them, probably all of them, will not be over before 10 o'clock, but we're certainly will keep you updated on our social media platforms here on 1010XL. Coming up next, let's talk a little college ball. Logan Robinson, the founder of Noel Game Day, that's powered by Sports Illustrated. Florida State, Louisville for the ACC title tomorrow night in Charlotte. Let's talk about it next. Friday night edition of Hacker After Dark with Dylan Denmark, the hacker Ryan Green with you here on 1010XL and 92.5 FM.
Salvatore's Pizza coming to Jacksonville. Salvatores.com.
Hey, Jacksonville, I'm sure by now you've seen our bright green GFL trucks and containers throughout the greater Jacksonville area. We are an industry leader in solid waste and would love the opportunity to earn your business. We are committed to customer service, reliability, and have unwavering focus on safety. Whether commercial or construction, let us haul your waste away. Call 904-760-5880 to get a quote today. GFL, green for life.
Hey, Jags fans, are you tired of roof leaks raining on your parade? Don't worry, Universal Roof and Contracting has got you covered. Their expert team of roofers will get your roof back in the game so you can focus on cheering on the Jags. Locally owned and operated, they've serviced Florida homeowners for over 30 years. Visit universalroof.com to schedule your free estimate today. Universal Roof and Contracting, proud partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars. License number CCC 1330747, CBC 1258484.
1010XL is the home of Gator Nation and the Gator Bites podcast presented by Southeast Orthopedic Specialists. I'm Hacker, and we keep you connected with the University of Florida all year long. Get Gator Bites where you find podcasts.
Jacksonville is a great place to live. And if you love where you live, you should invest in it. That's why more and more people bank with One-to-One Financial, Jacksonville's hometown credit union. We invest every penny back into North Florida, backing the very best small businesses, nonprofits, and of course the family home. Why put your money with some big out-of-state bank when you can invest in where you love to live? One-to-One Financial, we're your hometown credit union. Sign up today at one-to-one-fcu.org. Federally insured by NCUA.
Looking for quality equipment and a name you can trust? Lepo Rents, Bobcat of Jacksonville, is your premier construction equipment dealer and rental house. We have the right equipment for the job, offering the big and small tools needed for your next project. Lepo sells and rents track loaders, excavators, boom lifts, and much more. For your next project, remember Lepo Rents, your authorized Bobcat dealer in Jacksonville. Visit them online at leporents.com.
Rick Ballou for Carlson Dental. You know, I've been telling you this for quite some time because it's true. I hate going to the dentist, or at least I used to hate going to the dentist. I had total anxiety, and then I tried sedation, light sedation for cleaning and deep sedation as well for cavities and root canals. Folks, it's an incredible experience. So don't be nervous, don't be scared. Go to carlsondentalgroup.com. That's carlsondentalgroup.com for all of your dental needs.
Hey everybody, Jennifer Marion with Randy Marion Cadillac in Jacksonville here to say hello, and we'd sure like to have your business.
You know what? They're going to love the king of price.
My dad believes in making great deals and having a great selection in stock.
Cadillac XT4s, XT5s, and XT6s, and Escalades.
The all-electric Cadillac Lyriq.
CT4s and CT5s.
Cadillac luxury and selection is just waiting for you.
At Randy Marion Cadillac, Southside Boulevard, Jacksonville.
And don't forget, tell them Jennifer sent ya.
Since 2014, there's been only one official home builder of the Jaguars, Dreamfinders Homes. With quality-built homes and a speedy move-in process, we're in 20-plus communities in the best locations across Northeast Florida. Dreamfinders Homes is everywhere you want to live. So get off the sidelines, Jags fans, and get into the game. Let Dreamfinders help you navigate your home purchase and offer great interest rates. Visit DreamfindersHomes.com for all your move-in ready homes and step up your game.
What grows faster, your fingernails or your toenails? The answer next.
We all know that saving money on items like homeowners insurance can be done. Ask your agent about the new Southern Oak Insurance deductible options. It'll save money for you.
Our family protecting yours. Southern Oak Insurance.
Your fingernails grow faster than your toenails because they're closer to your heart and receive more blood.
Southern Oak Insurance. Our family protecting yours.
Perfect Rag Billiards in Murray Hill is your spot to be for all your football needs. Full liquor bar, 8 pool tables, darts, and shuffleboard. Weekend specials include happy hour all day Friday to $3 seltzer Saturdays, along with wing and pitcher specials on Sunday. Watching the Jag game, $19 domestic buckets on game day. There isn't a better place to play pool, have a beer, and just kick back. Perfect Rag Billiards on Edgewood and Murray Hill. The best place in Jax to watch sports.
Hayes Carline here. Rediscover the joy of hearing. Dr. Douglas Green and their expert team is offering a Here for the Holidays discount off hearing aids in December. Near the town center, visit Jacksonville Hearing and Balance or jhbi.org.
1010XL is presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Let's ring up another guest on the All-Pro Roofing phone line.
Back here on 1010XL at 92.5 FM in the city of Jacksonville, we are glad you are with us. Florida State and Louisville, Saturday in the ACC Championship game. A win for Florida State should put them in the college football playoff. A loss, well, we don't really even want to discuss that, but we will discuss that and more with Logan Robinson, Noel Game Day, powered by Sports Illustrated. He's always kind enough to join us here on 1010XL in Jacksonville. Logan, how you doing?
Doing great, just like I was talking to you in the production meeting there. Not used to covering a team that's undefeated and definitely of this magnitude of getting one more win or not, giving you a chance into getting to the ACC, or should I say the college football playoff. It's a good time in Tallahassee.
It's been a great year for the Noles, no question about that. Obviously 12-0. You can't get much better. Logan, Tate Rodemaker, your thoughts on his performance Saturday night in Gainesville?
I'll tell you what, I was there, and as maybe a few of the beat members know around the area in Florida, the Swamp press box is outside. So you're hearing everything, the atmosphere, the crowd, the fans, the band, everything. And for Tate Rodemaker's second start going into a Swamp, a lively one, very loud, I was impressed. You know, there are some things that, of course, you want to fix, and you can tell early on that not a lot of chemistry had been built with those number one guys, where Jordan Travis had such great chemistry the last couple of years. He had to build that pretty quickly, and it took 2 quarters until that last drive there where they were able to put up some serious points. And throughout the rest of the game, I thought that he felt a bit more composed. There's definitely some times where he doesn't understand that there's pressure. And, you know, there was some times, too, where Florida State's offensive line lacked in some ways and allowing Obviously that big hit on Rodemaker from behind somehow held onto that ball. But for the most part, for going through that situation and on a short week notice to have to go in, make sure that you're going to build an offense around Tate Rodemaker. I thought Norvell, Coach Tokars, Florida State's quarterbacks coach, and Rodemaker did the best that they could going into an environment which we saw across college football rivalry weekend. You never know what to expect.
Logan Robinson of Knoll Game Day, that's a part of Sports Illustrated. He's with us here on 1010XL in Jacksonville. Logan, the offense has gotten the attention all year, and with good reason, right? Jordan Travis up until the injury, Keon Coleman, Johnny Wilson, Trey Benson, go on down the line. Yet, my gracious, that defense has been nothing short of superb all year long with Deloach and obviously Jared Verse and Peyton and all the bodies they can just throw at you. Speak to that defense. They were dominant again on Saturday.
I'm glad you're bringing up the defense, Ryan, because I want to give a lot of credit to Adam Fuller. I've been doing that the last, I'd say, month or two, really throughout this season because of the production that side of the ball has done. And yes, the highlighted guys, the star players, maybe more offensively, getting more attention on that side of the ball. Definitely when you had JT, you have Johnny Wilson, Keon Coleman. Those guys are going to get the attention. But when you look on the defense, there's talent there as well. And, they just stayed consistent. And the second half being very smart on their adjustments. And Adam Fuller and Coach Surtain, too, the first-year defensive backs coach for Florida State, has really done a stellar job in his first season. And what is crazy is that Coach Surtain, specifically going into next year, has an even greater amount of younger talent coming in. And it just goes to show, too, what Florida State was able to do in the transfer portal, picking up Braden Fisk to add on to that inside interior. You still have Darrell Jackson, which after the ACC championship game, if Florida State makes it to the college football playoff, they'll have Darrell Jackson, expected to have Darrell Jackson available to play the Miami defensive tackle transfer. So there's even more weapons that they can add to that side of the ball. But Kalen Deloach has been stellar at the linebacker position. You look over to across, even the defensive back room. You're looking over at Shaheem Brown. Akeem Dent is having a really good season overall as well. And then you've got Renardo Green, who, maybe not the most consistent player this year, but overall a really solid cornerback. That's having a nice season as well. So they've done a good job. And, there's still this guy named Jared Verse that when you need him the most, he is going to step up and make those plays.
Mike Norvell, the absolute king of the transfer portal, no question about that. All right, Logan, let's turn our attention to Saturday with Louisville. I don't think it was a good thing necessarily that Kentucky knocked off Louisville. I think if you would have had a battle of top 10 teams, that would help everything all the way around. Louisville does lose. You wonder where they're going to be at mentally, losing to their in-state rival. We know Florida State, the second start for Tate Rodemaker. What's your thought on this game coming up in Charlotte on Saturday night?
This one I have been keeping a close eye on since we were trying to figure out who Florida State was going to be facing up there in Charlotte, keeping an eye out on a few teams, and Louisville was sticking around. And so be it, it was them. And, all along we were thinking that this would be maybe a potential rematch during the offseason of Florida State versus Clemson. And then that team, vying for a college football playoff spot. But now Florida State just needs that one more win. And, I look back at Rodemaker. There was a question asked from the beat on Monday to Mike Norvell asking, Rodemaker has faced a Louisville team before. He did that last year. He came in as a backup, threw an interception, then responded and played very well. But this is a different team. Yes, different team, different coaches. There's not much you can expect and just go into it lollygagging around. And that's definitely what Mike Norvell addressed, that, no matter what Tate Rodemaker did last year, things are going to change on this defense for Louisville. And to me, you go into the same mindset. It's not going to be as hostile as it was in the Swamp on Saturday night when you're in Gainesville, but still, nonetheless, you're on the road, neutral site. You're going to have your Florida State fans there, but obviously you're going to have some Louisville Cardinals fans as well. Stay composed, and the biggest thing for Florida State, if that defense can stay stellar, if it continues to stay consistent, Louisville shouldn't be able to put up a whole ton of points. Whereas on the other side, Florida State, if needed, they can put up at least 24, 27, something like that. I think Florida State can leave Charlotte with a win and stay undefeated going 13-0.
Logan Robinson is the founder of Noel Game Day. That is under the Sports Illustrated umbrella, and he's with us here on 1010XL in Jacksonville. All right, Logan, so there's a lot of aspects of this game. Let's begin with the absolute worst-case scenario. If Louisville wins on Saturday and Florida State finishes 12-1, failure, disappointment, how would you classify it?
It's a good question. I think I'd be almost in the neutral range. Obviously, if Florida State has Jordan Travis, major disappointment in my eyes, just the amount of talent that has been brought in through the transfer portal and also developed some youngsters too playing well this season. Just overall, it would be much disappointing if Jordan Travis was out there. But with Rodemaker, I think FSU fans understand that if there were to be a loss, that just bad luck. It's something where you lost your starting quarterback at North Alabama in a freak tackle and freak accident that caused him to miss the remainder of the season and has got to go through a big time recovery road. But to me, a loss is definitely still, it is disappointing, but I think Florida State fans maybe are just going into it expecting, some of these bigger players outside of Tate Rodemaker, some of these guys have to step up, and definitely defensively and offensively, these stars have to show up. And they did that in the Swamp. Your biggest stars coming through and making some plays, but it can't all be relied on Rodemaker. But a win on the other side, though, it sure does bring a lot of excitement back to where Florida State has had, all these sold out games, FSU fans compiling into Doak Campbell Stadium all throughout the season. You see that same kind of energy and you take that into the college football playoffs. And, to me, that right there, it's just icing on the cake if you make it to the playoffs.
There is a narrative out there, and I'm curious from a guy that covers Florida State to get your thoughts on it. I'm looking at the most chaotic situation imaginable for FSU, and to me, it would almost be very simple in the amount of chaos it would cause. If Washington wins, they're in as the Pac-12 champion. They would have the resume to be in. If Michigan wins, they're obviously in as the Big Ten champion. 2 of the spots are gone. And to me, this is very simple. If Alabama beats Georgia and Florida State beats Louisville, you would think Alabama would go as the one-loss SEC champion, and then the committee's going to ask themselves, all right, undefeated Florida State is obviously the most deserving to go. But are they better than the back-to-back national champions who lose by a field goal? What's your reaction to people that are saying Florida State may not be a shoo-in even if they win on Saturday night?
Well, I sort of understand the argument. This is all plagued on Jordan Travis not playing for Florida State. But you can't go in and say, okay, you have the backup. You've seen Rodemaker play last year. And then you go into the Swamp, you win with him, and you go and beat a number, let's say, top 20 team in Louisville. We'll see how much they drop later tonight. But does that happen to be a situation where you're just dropping Florida State because of Jordan Travis not being out there? And I don't think that is something that you can do. And you can go back to the Ohio State argument and their quarterback situation early on in the college football playoff era and them making a run with the backup. And then, Florida State too, I think in their case, they've done everything that they've needed to do. They've ran to the ACC. They beat the heck out of LSU to begin the season, destroyed and handled the Heisman favorite for this upcoming trophy. They've done everything that they've needed to do on their resume. And the good thing about it, if you just want to stress so much about Florida State not having Jordan Travis out there and you want to drop him, look at how much talent is surrounding Tate Rodemaker, at least if you want to talk specifically defensively. They've also done everything on their sheet. They've checked all the boxes to be a college football playoff defense. It just is really coming down to an argument at the quarterback position. And like I said, too, if Florida State makes it to that playoff, you're adding in an additional fully healthy Darrell Jackson, who, from what I've heard from practices every week throughout camp, I saw him in person. He might be the most talented overall defensive tackle in that room. You're bringing in a fresh Darrell Jackson into wherever you're going, New Orleans or Pasadena. There's a lot of things that should go in Florida State's favor to not allow them to get knocked off. I think Florida State, if that scenario were to happen, I think they move in that 2 to 3 notch, and you put Bama at 4.
Logan, as we wrap up, can they beat Georgia and then maybe Michigan 10 days later with Tate Rodemaker?
Woo! It would be a very hard task if I were to say now. I would pick Florida State to narrowly lose that one. But, you know, I think Georgia's a tough team to beat, and Michigan as well. If I were to pick, though, if I'm a Florida State fan and if I had to pick one of those to face, I would go with Michigan.
Yeah, I agree. Georgia looks very good. We'll see what happens against Alabama. And I didn't even mention Texas. Texas is screaming down here in the Big 12. Well, wait a minute. If Alabama beats Georgia, we win the Big 12. We have 1 loss, and we beat Alabama, who would have 1 loss. It'll be some interesting stuff the last year of the 4-team playoff. Again, Logan Robinson here with us. Logan, tell Seminole fans in Jacksonville about Nole Game Day and what they can expect when they head on over to the website.
Absolutely. We've got tons of coverage right now. We've had the most active users on our site in the last month or two. It's been a fun season to cover. This team has really been I would say, the most intriguing to be around just because of Mike Norvell's energy and the high expectations that they're trying to hold on to. But you can find us at nolegameday.com. We're also on Twitter or X and Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, everything imaginable. We're on all socials, and we're also on YouTube. We do a show on Wednesday nights at 7 o'clock previewing the game, and then we'll have instant reactions from on-site in the stadium, giving our thoughts, of course, this upcoming Saturday when we're in Charlotte for Florida State versus Louisville. So tons of content there on our YouTube at Nole Game Day. Appreciate you, as always, having me, Ryan.
There you go, Logan Robinson, the founder of Nole Game Day, which is powered by Sports Illustrated. Logan, appreciate it, brother. We'll do it again soon.
Thank you. Absolutely. Have a great rest of your week.
1010XL says thank you for supporting the Tom Coughlin J Fund and helping families battle childhood cancer. The Radiothon raised over $268,000 and generous challenge matches by U.S. Assure, Florida Backyard, Pet Paradise, e-file.com, Dandy Foods, Bari Orthopedics, Small Cakes Cupcakery, Dreamfinders Homes, the Nimnick family of dealerships, and Window World of Northeast Florida played a big part in helping so many families.
Looking for the perfect stocking stuffer? How about the Blue Crab Crab House? Right now, buy a $50 gift card, you get $15 free. $50 gives you an additional $15. Also sign up. The private dining room is available for you. Call them 260-CRAB for all the details. Tuesday through Saturday, 4:30 to 9, Sunday noon to 9, only at the Blue Crab Crab House right off of San Jose, Jointon Creek Road.
Here's your 1010XL First Coast Community Calendar.
The Hometown for Heroes Home Buyers Program helps you get your down payment and closing costs paid. Call to learn more. 574-7180.
City Rescue Mission has been providing food, clothing, and love for over 70 years to the homeless in Jacksonville. If someone you know is struggling, City Rescue Mission is here to help. Learn more about the City Rescue Mission at crmjax.org.
If you know someone with cancer and no insurance, call the U.S. Uninsured Helpline at 800-234-1317.
The Creeks Athletic Association in St. Johns County offers a variety of sports for children 5 to 18. Learn how to get your child involved at caaleague.org.
Builders Care is looking for volunteers, and there are so many ways you can help. Find out how at builderscare.org.
If you're involved in a community event and you'd like us to help spread the word, find out how at 1010XL.com.
If you've been injured in an accident, you have one shot at compensation. Make it count. Farah and Farah, protecting you and your family.